Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Adversity Podcast. Today, we are back with Aizia once again, and there's not really a main focus to this episode. It's actually, I think, nearly 12 o'clock on Tuesday, so I got to record this and then got to edit it, and I will probably be up till 4 a.m. doing it for having it up on Wednesday, but oh well. I just got back from Maple Leaf Square. I want to talk about that a little bit. The Leafs lost their first game against the Tampa Bay Lightning in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And yeah, we also are going to talk about a road trip that we took in October of 2020. We went from Ontario, Pickering, Ontario, the good old Pickering, Ontario. I messed up saying Pickering. And we went all the way to Vancouver and all the way back. So I'm going to talk about that. I really do. I need to talk about Maple Leaf Square a little bit.
Yeah, so how did you feel tonight being in the square? What was the atmosphere? Well, what was the vibe?
Bad. They
lost.
The
whole time?
No. So Tampa Bay came in and they were really good off the start. As much as I want to pay attention to the game, I really can't, because I'm there taking photos and taking video of reactions to people scoring, or not scoring, not people scoring, but the players scoring and getting the people's reactions. And, you know, the atmosphere was good at the beginning. It's obviously, you know, game one of the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Leafs, biggest team in the NHL. The fans, very passionate, very, I don't know how to explain the Maple Leafs fan base other than, I guess, passionate. So started off good. Actually, no, that was a lie. They did not start off good. I think they had 3 goals scored against them. But
are you surprised at the way that they performed tonight?
Like, no, but yes. I don't know. Hockey is so unpredictable. There's really, like, you can't say you're surprised. You can't say you're not surprised. Like I think last season in their first game against Tampa, I think they won like 5-0 or something. So, like, maybe this is, you know, they lose, I think it was 7-3 to Tampa tonight. So maybe the tides are turning in their direction. I have no idea. But, yeah, it's so unpredictable. It's not surprising. Tampa Bay is a really good team. Tampa's, they've gone to the Stanley Cup finals 3 years in a row. So it's like, they're a team that can win or they could lose. I don't know. Going into the playoffs, they were a team that looked really tired and not like the team that went to the Stanley Cup 3 times in a row. So I don't know. But the fans are interesting. I don't know how to explain them. There's a lot that's, you know, good about them. And there's a lot that's also has me questioning why they're fans. It's not really a good thing because before I started covering the Marlies, I was a fan. And I remember those feelings. I've kind of tried to put that aside. But yeah, it's interesting because I really think that players in particular, like, I wonder if they understand the fans, if that makes sense. Like, when the Leafs were losing at the end of the second period on, what is today, Tuesday, when the Leafs were losing on Tuesday.
Today?
When the Leafs were losing on Tuesday night, I'm making this very,
yes, people will be listening to it this
so
okay.
Like, when they were losing after the second period, people were leaving. Mm-hmm. People were like, walking out of the building and shouting like, time to go home to like the fans out in the square. And if anyone's watching this and you're a hockey fan, that Leafs tickets, especially in the playoffs, they cost like probably $500, $600, especially a lower bowl. And when people leave, it's sad to me. Like, you're spending all this money on tickets and you're leaving after the second period when there's always a chance the Leafs come back. And that's one of the things about Leaf fans that, I understand as I was a fan, but it's also frustrating, is like when they're down and out, nobody thinks they're coming back. There's no hope. Nobody has hope because I guess they've lost so many times. There was a guy that I was talking to there. He was a CP24 cameraman, and I think it was like 7-3 at this point. And I said to him, it's always possible. Like, they can come back. And he was like, no. And I'm like thinking in my head, in 2013, the Boston Bruins did it.
Yeah, but how much time did they have left?
Like 10 minutes to score 4 goals. It's possible. Not probable, but it's possible.
Fair.
So yeah, it's sad to see people leave after the second period, especially in a playoff game. Like, I don't know. I think in the first period, when the first period ended, the Leafs were booed off the ice. So yeah, it wasn't a good game. But the square is special. It's when it's bad, it's bad. But when it's good, it's good. Like, those fans are so passionate. Those fans are, when they score, it's a different feeling than I've ever felt before. I remember last year, there was at one point they scored and there was people flinging beer all around. It's a great place to be. That's why I like going there and taking photos and videos, is because, when they score, I don't really know how to explain the feeling, especially, when they win games. And I think last year too, they took Tampa to Game 7, and they were up. Like, they were at 3 games winning. And when that happens, when they win the third game, it's really exciting. It's really fun. So yeah, it's a lot of fun seeing fans show emotion. That's one of the big things I like is, when they score a goal, everyone's freaking out. Everyone is full of emotion. Everyone's jumping around, hugging people that they don't even know. Everything about the square, when the Leafs are doing really good, it's just everything you'd want as a sports fan. It's just, the love of the game. You're sharing it with people that, love the game too. And I think that's so cool to have that. It's something special. And, hopefully by next week, the Leafs have turned this around. Not for my sake, because I don't cheer for them.
Unbiased.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's always fun. It wasn't fun tonight. You don't, what are you going to do when they're losing? Like, I think they scored their third goal and everyone was like, yeah, like nobody was excited. It's, there's really no point in being there at that point because there's no content available other than you taking pictures of sad fans. And
yeah, but I will say, like, last year though, like, you did get, I mean, it's very sad, and I know people get very invested in it, but you did take some really, like, good quality like photos of the square with like people that had a lot of emotion, like that girl with the tears in her eyes and she's staring up at the screen. Like, I don't know, you still get good content from it, and it's obviously not what you want, but I think no matter what, like, I don't know, people just will always have emotion. And
yeah, it's funny. I think there was somebody there, I think it was Thomas, who I had on the podcast. I think he said, like, they just keep coming back.
Yeah.
Like, they lose in disastrous ways, and, you know, the fans come back the next year. And that's the good thing. Like, as much as, you know, when they're low, like the lowest lows are low and the highs are very high, they will always come back. Like, the thing about Tuesday night was, you know, it was funny because a lot of the people who were at the square last year are the same people that were there this year, standing in the front row. One guy actually had a Stanley Cup that he made, and by the end of the game, he turned it into a garbage can. He folded it all up, and it was like in a garbage. It wasn't in a garbage can, but he folded it up, and it looked like it was a garbage can. But yeah, no, they always. It's cool that they always come back. I just wish I was in the building rather than outside taking photos.
Especially on a day like today, too. It was like so cold after the nice weather we had.
It was snowing.
Yeah.
Like, I think I have a photo of one girl, the one that I showed you. It's like this girl that had sunglasses on, and like you could see the snow falling behind her, but you could see the snow in her hair too. Yeah.
Which is so wild because I feel like I didn't wear shorts on the weekend, but I know so many people were like out in shorts and tank tops and such nice weather. Like, you even got a sunburn, and then literally today is like completely the opposite, but that's only in Canada.
It's only here where you have, you know, summer one week, winter the next. I've seen there's like a photo somewhere. I don't know where I saw it, but it has like all the like seasons, and it's like winter.
Oh, the chart, and then it's like the second winter, third winter.
So that's here. It's not fun.
I said earlier, like at Easter, I was like, it's gonna snow again, and everyone was like, you think, and I was like, yeah, it's gonna snow at least one more time. It might not stick, but it'll snow again.
What is today? Today is April. I don't know.
16th?
April.
No, it's the 18th because
let's see.
I work on Thursdays. The 20th is my last day at work.
Yep. So no, I don't have that. It's April 18th.
It is April 18th.
18th. And it's still snowing. Sounds like what you get in Alberta. Sounds like what you get in Thunder Bay. Except it's flipped the other way around.
What?
The snow comes in October.
Yeah, but I'm sure they get it in the spring too. It's not just fall.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a weird thing. I don't like that. I think I'd rather much live in a place that has the same climate everywhere.
That's not true at all.
What?
You tell me every time we go outside, you're like, I love this weather. It'll be like snowing. You'll be like, I love this weather. And then it's summer and you're like, oh, this is the perfect weather. And then it's fall and then you're like, oh my God, this is the perfect weather.
So then what is it? What is it? I want to know, is it for Toronto specifically? Do you like having like an equilibrium type of seasons? If I don't even know if that makes sense, but like
the same amount of winter as there is summer. Like
for Toronto, would you like to have a real spring, a real fall, a real winter, a real summer, where it's all spaced out and it all is like very even, like in terms of, you know, you get snow and then the clock turns and you get, a little bit warmer, and then it gets warmer, and then it gets colder, and then the snow, and then like that clock? Or would you rather just have 15 to 20 degrees all the time, or 15 maybe to 30 degrees all the time?
I mean, I don't hate the winter. I just get sick of it really fast. So I would prefer summer majority of the time. And I could do winter for like maybe 3 months and then I'm good. But I could skip spring and fall.
I think that it is nice to have like the way it works in Toronto and in other parts of Canada. But I do wish it was a little bit different sometimes. I like having it equal, but I also would like to have a warm climate for most of the year, because it eventually gets to a point where it snows in April like it did today, and I don't like it. What's to like about snow in April? There's absolutely not one thing to like about snow in April, unless you like snow. And I've never met somebody who likes snow in April.
That's fair.
If you like snow in April, you are a psychopath.
You don't say that.
It is true.
Somebody out there is going to like snow in April.
Who is going to like snow? Unless you're going skiing in Switzerland, you should not like snow in April. I don't even know if they have snow in April in Switzerland.
Say that five times fast.
In Antarctica, they probably have snow all the time. I don't even know. But, snow in April is just it should not be a thing.
It doesn't mix.
And you know what? I'm not even talking about global warming, but
yeah, let us talk about that. I
don't have any information on that. We are not educated in global warming.
But I'm educated in saving the planet. I'm very eco-friendly.
The temperatures are getting warm.
And as we say that, for?
I don't know, because I'm looking at the temperature. It's 2 degrees at 12:15 at night. But anyways, I do want to say one more thing.
On Disney, the pig that's like blah 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 blah. That's all, folks. That's what you just sounded like.
I do want to say one more thing.
Yes.
If you're a Leafs fan, I'm going to stare right down the barrel of this camera, and you're leaving before the second period ends of a hockey game, and you're spending over $200 on Leaf tickets, and you're leaving before the second period ends, got a problem. Don't spend your money. Why don't you just go to a bar? If you're just going to leave after the second period, what is the point? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Heck, all the people in the snow in April outside of the...
would like the ticket.
Yeah, they'd like the ticket. They'd also stay in the square and be passionate about their team. That's the one thing. The biggest gripe I have with MLSE, or not MLSE, but, just Toronto in particular, is like the tickets are so expensive, and, people buy them, which it's understandable. It's understandable that they price them because anyone's going to buy them. But I wish the passionate fans in the square got more tickets. And they do get, there is giveaways in the square. But I wish there was like some kind of section where...
like the fan deck.
Sort of like the fan deck. But I wish there was a bigger section. I don't know how that would work, and it probably wouldn't. But I wish there was a way to get more of those passionate fans in the building.
Yeah, but you just talked about the atmosphere of the square and how it's great and all that stuff. It's like, you get that inside, but it's also like, it's a lot of fun to go to the square. Like, I don't even watch hockey, and I think like the atmosphere is a lot of fun in the square versus when you're in the seat.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I'm always right.
Yep, that's true. But yes, if you're going to Leaf games and spending $200 on tickets, $200 plus on tickets, you should not be leaving until halfway through the third period if they're losing. That just does not make sense. You spend your money, your hard-earned money, your hard-worked money, and you leave.
I don't know, you're so passionate about people
that
leaving
really upset
halfway
me.
through.
I was like, are you kidding me? Like, they're down by 4 goals, and it's the end of the second period. They could come back. And I was thinking, I'm like, imagine all these people leave the game, and the Leafs come back in this insane
incredibly
thing.
stupid.
Yeah, so, shame. Shame on you.
Shame on you.
But anyways, let's go back to a time where there was no hockey. Because of COVID-19. Actually, there was hockey.
It's called the virus that shall not be named now.
So yeah, Aizia and I went on a road trip in October of 2020, September of 2020.
Yeah, I guess.
We went to... Should I name all the places? No, I should not, because that's going to be hard.
You don't even remember where we went because you hesitated.
We went from Ontario to Vancouver and back to Ontario from Vancouver. What was your favorite part about that trip?
It's hard to name just one. I think that was the first trip that you and I had planned, just me and you, nobody else, and that was kind of cool. And we made a lot of mistakes along the way, but we also had a lot of... You're looking at me like...
What mistake did we make? Oh yeah, we did.
The biggest mistake we made was going on the wrong hiking trail.
No.
Yes, it was.
That was not the biggest.
What was the biggest mistake?
The biggest mistake was following the GPS and going on a gravel road for an hour.
No. Let's have them decide what the biggest mistake was.
We
went out of the way on our way to our first destination to go see the big nickel in Sudbury. Thank you. And that took us off course, and we ended up going down a dirt road, and we accidentally chipped our windshield on hour 6 or something. But we also made a big mistake when we were in... Where were we? In the bottom of Alberta somewhere.
What is
Waterton.
Waterton.
And I wanted to do a hike, and it was 4 hours, and it was a loop. But it was you walk a bit, and then you loop around a lake, and then you walk the same way back to the end of the trail. And we started walking up the side of a mountain that we thought was the right trail, and we were walking, and it was really sketchy, and no one was there, and I was terrified. We had to run bear spray, and I was so scared a bear was going to come out. Do you remember? I kept clapping and yelling and whistling, and I was so scared, and I had my hand on the bear spray the whole time. Or the air horn. I had a little air horn in my, where your water bottle sits in your backpack. And all of a sudden we're walking for an hour, and we're still not at the lake. Hour and a half, we're still not at the lake. 2 hours, we're still not at the lake. And we were like, okay, I feel like at this point we should be looping back around if it's only 4 hours.
And we did no looping.
And we did no looping. We just walked in a straight line on the side of a cliff. And I remember saying to you, I'm like, Nicholas, you're being so stupid at some points, leaning over and trying to take pictures and stuff. And I was like, if you fall, there's absolutely no way that I can hike back with you. And there was no one on the trails.
We also didn't have service.
We had no service. And all of the trees, I don't know if you remember, on the side of the mountain, all of the trees were burnt to a crisp. So there was no foliage at all. And I was just so terrified that, I don't know, it looked like a forest fire just went through there.
It was a forest fire. Because, I guess, because global warming, they have forest fires. And I think it was the year or the summer that was before, we came. Or maybe it was the year before. It was it was a really big, it was a lot of Alberta, because I think...
No, that was the year after.
No, because
They have a lot of forest fires
yeah.
out there anyway.
But yeah, that was. I was most afraid of like coming in contact with an animal.
Yeah, and do you remember we like at one point we always cross those little tiny streams, and at one point there was like a flat rock, and there was a full on
Oh yeah,
paw print, and it was like solid and it was like wet, and I was like, okay, well this has to be fresh, and I was so scared. I thought it was a bear, but it was like the size of my hand. The paw print, and we went to a museum later, and the bear print was like this big. I was like, clearly I've never seen a bear before in real life.
That
So that was a mistake.
yeah.
It's a funny story now.
We could have finished the hike.
No, we couldn't.
We could have.
No, we couldn't have.
Yes.
No, we couldn't. It was a 9-hour hike.
Yeah, and we were like probably 3 or 4 hours in.
No, we weren't.
Okay.
It was 2 hours, and then I was like, and we walked for another half an hour. You convinced me to walk for another half an hour, and then I made you turn around because I was too scared.
Oopsies. So yeah.
And then we went back to the hotel room, stayed there for an hour, and then we did another hour hike that was straight up stairs to the top of this like very steep mountain, and I was dying.
Yeah, I think the worst part about like going up mountains or trying to hike up mountains or going up in like, you know, any high altitude is the wind. It's
that mountain we went on was really bad.
I thought I was going to be blown off the top of this mountain.
That wind was really, really bad.
I've never felt that sort of wind in my life.
No, me neither. And I remember standing there and feeling like I was being pushed. And I didn't even stay up there for that long. I was too scared.
Would have got pushed right into Waterton.
The town
of Waterton.
And it also kind of sucked because we went on off season. Like everything there was closed. There was only that one little shop open, remember?
Mm-hmm.
But that was also a really beautiful place that we went. Like it was gorgeous.
It'd be nice to go in there summer.
Yeah.
That was like there was camping there. They had like little shops.
Deer was walking through the town.
Yeah. And we like stood right beside the deer and they weren't even afraid of us.
Yeah.
They had cottages. I'd love to have a cottage there. But I would not like to fly there for
And there
a
was
cottage.
also trails that went into Montana, and then there was trails that went into BC too. So that was also kind of cool. That trail we were on finished in BC.
I think that's the trail where you go from Mexico to Canada. I don't know though. Don't quote me on that. But I'm just guessing. But yeah, speaking of fascinating interactions with possible animals, got to talk about my other story.
You tell. What's your story?
So we were staying at Pukasquaw National Park in Thunder Bay, and you know, everything was good, everything was great, and then it turned bad.
Okay, don't be so dramatic.
It turned horribly wrong. So this is what happened. We went on this evening hike. I don't know how to explain it, but it was like up some rocks. It wasn't a mountain. It was like a rocky hill. Mm-hmm. And it was like a rock face sort of thing. And I'm there taking a time lapse, and everything's going okay.
I just remembered when you ate shit.
That was another thing.
I just remembered that right now.
This was not a good day for Nick. So, anyways, we're on this rock face. It's evening time,
but and you should also say there was a lot of like pine trees too. When you got to the top and it leveled out, there was like pockets of like, I don't know, 10 pine trees or something.
So, yeah, there was that too. So, anyways, on this rock face, doing a time lapse of the sunset. And Aizia is behind these pine trees, and I can't see her.
For some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why, but we were separated. And as I'm doing this time lapse, down below me, I hear these rustling in the bushes. And when I hear that, I'm like, okay, it's probably a squirrel, because these squirrels there were actually like
They rustled a lot.
Yeah, they were like acrobats, like Cirque du Soleil squirrels. Anyways, that was what really happened. I thought they were squirrels, and it turns out they were not squirrels, because as I, looked back at my phone and then I looked back, I was staring at a lynx. If you don't know what a lynx is a big cat. It is a very big cat. The biggest cat I've ever seen in my life, not at a zoo. And I was staring face to face. I think I was 50 feet away from it. And oh my God, that was the worst thing of my life. I thought I was going to die.
Because I was on the other side of the trees and I couldn't see you, and I don't know what I was just having a grand old time doing my thing, and I was calling you, and you must have been before the lynx came out, and I started walking towards you, and I maybe got halfway like to where you were, and all you were like, "Don't come over here," and I was like, "Yeah, whatever, why?" And you were like, "No, seriously." And I was like, "Why? Like, what?" And you were like, "Just turn around and run." And I was like, "What?" And you were like, "Just run." And you just like screamed it. And I could hear you like pick yourself up and like go. And I just turned around and started running. My first thought was, holy shit, there's a bear.
It's like that.
Which is obviously we have never been up north before, because that's the number one thing you're not supposed to do.
It's like those videos, those scary videos when it goes run. Dun, 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 dun. But yeah, that was, I thought it was a mountain lion.
Yeah, we bumped into this like really nice lady that was there with her son, who was like, I don't know, 11 or something. He was pretty young. And she was like, "Oh, it was probably a lynx." And she was so calm about it. We were like, "Oh my God, like we gotta go. We gotta get back to our campsite." And she was like, "No, they're harmless. They probably just like," what'd she say? It was like, "You probably just were at the right timing, and like the wind was probably blowing just right, that it didn't know you were there, and you probably both just freaked out." And she was like, "Oh, it's fine." She was so casual about it. And we were like, "Oh."
Yeah, that was after I ran. And I was like, "I think I just seen a mountain lion." And she's like, "No, probably not.
Probably not.
No." But yeah, that was I think that was one of the scariest moments of my life. On the last podcast, I talked about my mom almost falling off the cliffs of Mohar. That was scary for me, but it wasn't like,
It was more of like a moment.
It didn't affect me. It did affect me, that's a lie, but it wasn't me. But yeah, this one, that got the adrenaline.
Still talking about
that
it.
got the adrenaline pumping. That was, don't have any words.
And that was like, was that day one of our trip?
No.
Or day two?
That was like day 2.
Like it was so early into our trip.
Yeah.
And we still, like, that was like not even Thunder Bay. I mean, it was close. I think it was like 3 hours before you get to Thunder Bay. But like we still had to go through like Alberta and like all this like very mountainous like area that is known for wildlife. And so we were like, okay, if this is how it's going to be here, like what happens when we get to Alberta? And we did see a bear actually in Alberta, but we were in the car.
Yeah. Same with a moose. I think where did we see the moose? Saskatchewan?
Yeah.
On the side of the highway. The bear on the side of a highway.
What else did we see?
Nothing. We saw buffalo, I think.
We saw a lot of bald eagles.
Yeah.
A lot of bald eagles.
Never seen those. We saw those. We saw, what is it? Elk?
Yeah.
In Alberta?
A lot of elk.
Did we see anything else? People. Humans.
Humans. We encountered those, yes.
But yeah, no. That I didn't really see. I guess I wanted to run into a bear on the in the forest. I think I said that to Thomas too. I said I would love to,
Just
to have it happen. Like I say it right now. I said this exact thing in the podcast with him. I say that right now, not having done that before.
Yeah, but you just like literally crapped your pants about seeing a lynx, and a lynx is a tiny little cat to a bear.
This was not a tiny little cat.
Yeah, but comparatively to a bear,
this lynx had tiger paws. It could
I don't think lynx are that
It could
big.
maul your face. Anyways, lynx. I don't like that. I don't like them. They don't look nice. They look ferocious and wanting to eat you. But anyways.
You're just a little city boy, that's why.
What else happened on the road trip? We had a nice time in Alberta. I think Alberta's the nicest place in all of Canada.
Yeah, we really liked Banff. We went there twice.
Yep.
Once on the way there and once on the way back.
Yeah, we gotta talk about that too. We went there in September. No.
We went 11 days apart.
Okay, so we went there in October. We got to Lake Louise, and it was, felt like not summer, but it was like fall. It was the fall colors.
It was chilly.
It was cold, but it was like fall. And then, 11 days later, we come back, and it is not fall anymore. It is, in fact,
Full-blown winter.
Full-blown winter. We drove from Vancouver to Banff in one shot. I think it was like 11 hours. I might be wrong, but
From Vancouver to Banff?
yeah.
I don't remember. It was all day, I think.
And then like 2 hours away from Banff, we hit the snowstorm.
Yeah, that was actually our most crazy drive on the whole road trip that we had, because when we left Vancouver, it was just a torrential downpour, like so crazy. It just wouldn't stop raining. And then a couple hours in, it like was so gorgeous and it was so hot. And we had the windows down and it was so nice. And then, and then all of a sudden we hit this crazy snowstorm. And that's when we had our first highway buddy. Remember, we were going so slow and all these transport trucks were just flying by us, and we had this one car that was in front of us that we were like, we're just gonna stay behind you and just trail behind you.
Yeah, that drive was, I remember like transport trucks.
We had some scary drives.
Transport trucks would speed right by you. I remember there was one point, I don't know if it was on the way to Banff or on the way to Whistler, but like it was October and I was playing Halloween music at one point, and then I started playing Christmas music.
Oh yeah.
That was fun. I like that.
Yeah, we had some good vibes. We also had some scary vibes.
Yeah, the worst one was Winnipeg. Winnipeg is a very nice city. I thought it was nice at least. But the weather there is the worst weather in Canada that I've ever experienced in my entire life. Other than the rain in Vancouver, which I don't mind, and I think we need to do Vancouver again, because when we did it in COVID, it was kind of like a ghost town.
Everything was closed. Like, we didn't get to do the suspension bridge. We didn't get to do a lot, but we did go kayaking, which was actually another, like, probably one of my favorite things.
We saw seal or
sea lion.
Sea lion. Those eyes.
That was really, really cool as well. We kayaked and the bay was just so calm. Like, it was glass. And we kayaked out and all these sea lions kept popping up, and at one point I probably could have touched with my hands if I reached far enough. But that was really, really fun. The other really nice thing too was actually getting to plan that, because of the work that I'm in. A lot of the things that we did came as recommendations. Like, we would have never found that spot if one of my clients told me to go to Waterton was one, and what's it called? Deep Cove was the other.
Yeah. The worst part of the trip, I'd say, gonna mention Winnipeg again because that's where it was.
I think
this was actually the worst drive. I think if I had to rank drives there, I think I would put from from maybe Edmonton to Winnipeg or Edmonton to Thunder Bay. That was really horrible.
You mean Winnipeg to Thunder Bay?
Yeah, but we went from Edmonton to Winnipeg in one shot.
Yes. But then we went from Winnipeg home.
Yeah, so that Edmonton to Winnipeg was not good.
Yes, I agree.
And neither was Winnipeg to Thunder Bay. After Thunder Bay, it stopped snowing.
That was, I think, the one from Winnipeg. We actually did drive from Winnipeg straight home, and we didn't stop. So we did that. It took us 30 hours.
Nicholas drove.
Yes, I will say, pat on the shoulder, because he took the brunt of that drive. But from Winnipeg to like Sault Ste. Marie was really sketchy. And because we also were driving overnight was also really scary. But after Sault Ste. Marie, that's when it started to lighten up and there wasn't as much ice on the road. And we also, another really dumb thing that we didn't put winter tires on our car.
Shh. We had all season tires.
Yeah, but it was still really dumb of us to do that in hindsight.
Yeah. We went from Edmonton to Winnipeg in one go. Again, probably not the best thing. I think we got there at like 11 p.m., went to bed.
To Winnipeg?
Yeah, what time we get there? 12?
Oh, we got there late because we only got like 6 hours of sleep or something crazy and we left at like 6 a.m.
So yeah. So when we left, it was like not even an hour into our drive. We're driving on these slick Winnipeg roads. It was so icy.
And I don't understand people, people were just flying by. Like every time we would try and speed up, we would just slip.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they are good drivers in Winnipeg and maybe they
We're not
know
good
the road.
drivers.
I don't know. But yeah, we left our Airbnb and not even half an hour in, we're driving on this icy road. There's snow on it. You can't tell whether it's ice. You can't tell whether it's snow. We're driving very slow. And like 100 meters in front of us.
No, okay.
It was 100 meters.
But the transport truck passed us first.
Okay, well, this transport truck passed us, got 100 meters in front of us, and all of a sudden a big puff of snow came up in the air. And next thing you know, this FedEx transport truck that had 2 trailers. It wasn't just one trailer, it was 2.
Yeah, it was an 18-wheeler.
It had, I guess, hit black ice and went right into the ditch.
But it did like a 180. Like it was facing us.
Yeah.
And then it flopped into the ditch.
I don't get that.
And the crazy thing is nobody stopped. Like I remember I told you, I was like, we need to stop. And you were like, no. And I was like, no, what if that guy just died?
Now you're making it seem like I'm a person who sucks.
Yeah, but I was the first one that was like, hey, we need to stop. You didn't want to.
No, because I am very scared in those situations.
I know you are, but also that person could have been very, thank goodness he was fine, but he could have been super seriously injured.
Yeah, so that's who. Like this person, I don't know who this guy was, but he ended up having, I don't know whether it was his wife or his ex-wife or his ex-girlfriend or his girlfriend, and their dog in this car. And they were French, and
they weren't very, nice to you either.
I don't really remember.
Yeah, but they didn't. I remember, they didn't really say thank you for stopping or anything. I don't know. The girl was like, she's like, I'm never doing this again. We're never going on. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that I remember. She was crying. The dog got loose, and I remember it wanted to play. And she was like, no, don't run away. And I'm like, it just wants to play in the snow with me.
She also, remember when she was sleeping when they crashed?
I don't.
She was sleeping, and then the driver told her, "Hold on."
So yeah, that's like, I don't know.
We also saw another transport truck on our way home too that had like driven into the ditch or something like that. But
Yeah.
it'd been there for a while.
Yeah, following seeing that transport truck, we did see a bunch of other cars and another truck in the ditch. One car was flipped on upside down. So the moral of the story is don't drive from Winnipeg to Thunder Bay from October to January or February. Actually, March, unless it snows in April.
To June, July, August.
Yeah. Don't do cross-country road trips in Canada until June, July, and August.
But it was good. It was a good trip. We had a good trip.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part?
I think I really liked seeing Lake Louise. Like, you see it in pictures and it doesn't look real, and then you see it and it's
Still
really
doesn't look
cool.
real.
Yeah. That too. I do think the coolest part about the trip for me was going into the mountains for the first time, because I've never seen mountains in my life, and it looked like you were just driving right into a movie set. It didn't look real at all. Everything is just so big. The mountains are huge. It's so much different than just seeing skyscrapers and driving into a city where it's just all buildings. Like, these mountains are massive, and like I don't think, if you've never been there, you don't really take that into perspective, like how big and everything is, and how much land there is too with all of these mountains. So I think that was cool too. What else? I like going to Whistler. Whistler was also really interesting.
We had Thanksgiving in Whistler.
Yeah, that was nice. That was actually
a really cute weekend, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
We made our own little turkey dinner, and
we did. The day we left Lake Louise was the NHL trade deadline. Or no, not the trade deadline, sorry. The free agency. Beginning of free agency.
Yeah,
so
I remember you worked a bit.
Yeah, that was interesting. Lake Louise, I liked the Puka where I saw the Lynx. Just because
it was really nice.
It was cool to sleep in like an authentic and like have a fire and have that heat up your...
Yes, all night
tent.
you were up mending the fire.
That was not good.
I appreciate you.
That though, I think, is it. Like, I liked Waterton. I liked Calgary. I didn't really like, it sucks to say, but like my least favorite city was Vancouver.
I think it was very similar. Like you said, like we had never really been out of, like I'd never been anywhere other than like Montreal within Canada. And then everywhere we were going leading up was so different. There was so much to do. And then when we got to Vancouver, it did feel like home. And I think that's probably why it felt a little bit different. And also, like you said, like there was nothing really to do there. Like it was COVID still. And everything we did, like, had to be within masks, or we had to, I don't know, just isolate or whatever. And I think that also kind of like taints your experience. But, yeah, I agree with you. I think it was just very like, not dull, but it was just like anticlimactic.
Yeah. Forgot about Edmonton. Worst.
Yeah.
The mall is great to go and see, but man, there's not Edmonton.
Edmonton was terrible. We had a terrible time in Edmonton.
Yeah, I don't know about Edmonton. Edmonton might be...
I heard it's nice in the summer. You're like, no. No, but I
It
think
looks like
everything's better in the summer.
It looks like the Wild West. All the buildings are like brown. It sort of looks like a big Oshawa. I'm slandering all these cities
I know, you have very strong opinions, so
of cities.
yes.
Ottawa is a good city. People don't think Ottawa is a good city. Yeah. But anyways, what was your favorite part?
I don't know. It's hard.
Seeing me trip and fall in the
Yeah,
cement?
that actually was really funny. I forgot about that. You should put a little snippet in.
I don't think I have that video anymore. Oh, I do have it on YouTube. It's on YouTube.
It was actually so funny. No, but I think my favorite part, I did like having Thanksgiving in Whistler. That was a really nice weekend. And it also, like, there were so many, like, markets that weekend. And there were so many people there. So it just felt really nice. And, yeah, I liked Lake Louise. And didn't really like Thunder Bay. I will say that.
No.
But I liked going to the surrounding areas of up north. Like
Yeah.
when we went to that waterfall, we went to I will say Sleeping Giant was nice, even though we had a terrible experience there. And then Pukasquat, or I don't even think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
But that was really nice too. So all the surrounding areas of there.
Yep. Sleeping Giant. If you've never been there, you should go there. We didn't even hike it, but
It was raining. That's why we didn't do anything there.
We went to decide to go camping. We actually thought we'd camp the whole way, and then we did one night
Quickly realized
in Sleeping Giant with rain, and we were like, nope, we are going to stay in hotels.
Yeah, we booked 2 nights at Sleeping Giant, and we slept one night there, and then I was like, let's just get a hotel room.
That was the worst. Oh my god, what time is it?
I know.
It's time for bed. Not for me, but it's almost 12:46. We did go to Jasper too, but
Yes.
Jasper was also crappy weather.
Crappy weather. It was just another Banff. I mean, it's gorgeous. I just wish, there was a couple things that I wanted to do, but the weather just wasn't good. So I think that our experience wasn't what it could have been if we had good weather. I really wanted to do that stargazing thing where they take you up on the gondola to the top of the mountain and you get the telescopes and you look at the stars. I really wanted to do that, but every night we were there was so cloudy. I really wanted to see Northern Lights and it was so cloudy.
I think we did see it, but I don't think we did see it on that snowstorm from Vancouver to Banff. I thought the sky was green.
No, it was purple and green.
Yep.
But it was hues, off into the it kind of looked like when the sun sets and it's that orange in the sky. It was green and purple in some spots, but it was hard to tell if it was because we were coming up to the city. It was hard to tell if it was from the city or
the one thing. What was I gonna say? Oh, I don't want to lose it. I think. Oh, it was that. I think I watched a TikTok, and I don't know how much of the percentage it was, but a lot of people in the world have not seen, a clear sky.
the stars in the sky, you mean?
Yeah. Without light pollution, I think you'd be able to see, the entire Milky Way.
And that was something that was super disappointing, why it was so cloudy when in Jasper, because Jasper is known for not, it's the least light polluted city in Canada or something like that. I don't know. They've really controlled their light pollution, and then it was just so dang cloudy.
But yeah, we've covered the worst.
Overall, it was a good trip.
Yeah.
I would do a road trip with you again. Not to Vancouver.
I don't know if I would do a long one. I can't do cars.
Not for a month, but we went for a month.
I don't know if I could sit in a car for 8 hours consecutive days again. I don't. It's too much. It's boring.
We had so much fun on the way there. It was only boring on the way back because we'd seen it all before. Like, even in, like, Manitoba and Winnipeg, like, we weren't bored.
I was very bored.
No, you weren't.
It's flat. I was sitting there eating chips. And we were playing games.
Okay.
But, I don't know. Like, it was fun. It's just, I guess the scenery is just...
Yeah, but that's where we saw everything. That's where we saw the moose, and we saw bald eagles for the first time. We were looking for bison.
We saw a bald eagle the first time at the waterfalls.
Oh.
But, yeah, it was still fun. I just don't know if I would do a very long one again. I just don't like sitting in the car. That, I guess, should wrap up because it's 12:51 p.m. So yeah. Thank you so much if you've made it this far into the podcast. I'm going to plug the socials because it's what I do. The Adversity Pod on everywhere you get your podcast. That's actually wrong. The Adversity Podcast is where you get all your podcast stuff. I'm still not making sense, but it's 12:51. I'm so tired. If you want to follow the podcast anywhere, it's at the Adversity Pod. And if you want to listen to the podcast, you can listen to the Adversity Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And also make sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow on Instagram, follow on TikTok, follow on Twitter if you want. Twitter's dying. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. The journey creates the person. The person creates the journey. We'll see you next week.